Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting right into it, distilling some expert advice on a really important topic: how to understand narcissistic abuse, and, more importantly, how to break free. You know, if that question really hits home for you, there's a good chance you might be caught in what's known as the narcissistic abuse cycle. And it is such a confusing, really painful place to be. So let's break down how this whole cycle works. And, the most important part, how you can start to reclaim your power. We're going to start right at the beginning, where these relationships almost always kick off. Okay, so this whole thing usually kicks off with what feels like a fairy tale. It's this deceptive, almost intoxicating phase. We call it the idealization phase. And really, it's a performance, just perfectly crafted to pull you in. You've probably heard the term love bombing, right? Well, this is it. An expert on this, Angie Atkinson, she explains that during this idealization stage, the narcissist basically becomes a mirror. They reflect all your hopes, your dreams, your interests. They literally seem like your perfect soulmate. And what that does is it builds this incredibly intense, powerful bond of trust. A bond that, unfortunately, is going to be exploited later on. And this is so important to get, this perfect beginning, it's not real. It's actually the very first, totally calculated step in a really predictable and incredibly destructive three-part cycle. So this cycle has 3 stages: idealize, devalue, and discard. And it just becomes this relentless loop. Once they've put you up on that pedestal, the devaluation part is pretty much inevitable. And the scary part is, this cycle can just repeat over and over and over again, sometimes for years. And when you're in that devalue stage, it's so common to start blaming yourself. I mean, how could you not? The switch from them thinking you're the most amazing person in the world is just so sudden and completely confusing. So you might be wondering, how do they keep this going? How do they maintain control and keep you stuck in that loop? Well, they have a whole toolbox of specific psychological manipulation tactics. One of the big ones is gaslighting. It is such a sneaky, but man, it is a devastatingly powerful tool. It's all designed to make you question your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own reality, basically your sanity. And when your confidence is shot, you're easier to control. And what happens if you try to leave? That's when they pull out another trick: hoovering. Think of it like a vacuum cleaner, right? They try to suck you right back in. Why? Because this whole thing is fueled by something experts call narcissistic supply. That's your emotional response. They literally feed on it. And get this, it doesn't matter if it's love or just straight up drama. They just need that attention. And all of this really just points to the ultimate goal, doesn't it? They want to isolate you. They want to crush your independence and make you this dependent source of attention that they can control. It's kind of like you're a toy they can just pick up and put down whenever they want. Okay, so just recognizing these tactics, that's a huge first step to breaking free. But the next question is, how do you actually do it? Let's get into some real strategies for your escape so you can start to get your life back. There's this one really powerful technique called gray rocking, and the name says it all, really. The goal is super simple: cut off their narcissistic supply. You literally make yourself as boring and unresponsive as a gray rock. You just starve them of that emotional reaction they're so desperate for. So what does that look like? It means when they try to start drama, you just let their rage or manipulation wash right over you. You don't react. If you absolutely have to talk to them, you keep it short, factual, and totally businesslike. No emotion. You're not feeding the fire anymore. You're just letting it burn out all on its own. Look, breaking free is a massive, monumental step. And once you're out, that's when the real journey of becoming a survivor begins, and it usually starts with a few really powerful, life-changing aha moments. Now, everybody's journey is different, of course, but a lot of survivors talk about having these 3 big epiphanies, these moments that just completely change how they see everything and really pave the way for healing. The first one is just finally giving yourself permission to call it what it was: abuse. Just naming it and validating for yourself that all that emotional pain you went through was real. And yeah, it was damaging. Then comes the second epiphany. It's that moment where you realize, oh my gosh, I'm not the piece of crap they told me I was. It's this profound understanding that it was never, ever your fault. That all those flaws and insecurities you took on, they were basically manufactured by the abuser to control you. And finally, the third big one: you are not alone, not even close. Discovering that there are thousands, even millions of people who get it, who have similar stories, that's a huge moment. It just completely shatters that isolation the abuser worked so hard to build around you. And all of this really brings us to a final, crucial thought to leave you with. You see, recovery, it's not just about getting away. It's about rediscovering who you are, your own identity, your beliefs, your choices. It's about finally getting to answer that question for yourself. What would my life actually look like without their voice constantly in my head?